Hello everyone, a very good day. My name is Ashish and I'm a security technician at Cisco Labs. We specialize in application layer security and we are best known for pioneering web security innovation. Now, enterprises use perimeter security to defend against unauthorized activities. Network layer firewall provides IP and port based regulation to control network connectivity. A network layer firewall can regulate which of the internet services like DNS, HTTP, HTTPS, SMTP, IMAP, POP3 may be permitted or denied to one or all the users. A network layer firewall can thus prevent unauthorized use of email services or DNS servers, etc. Application layer firewall like web or HTTP proxy server regulate the traffic to one or more websites. A proxy server thus provides better access prevention to undesired websites, content, and control the actual usage. With an efficient proxy server, you could easily control who can download or upload what kind of content and from where. For example, you could use a proxy server to prevent users from downloading malicious software. You can prevent upload of confidential data. You could even prevent unauthorized use of internet application like Skype or Google Drive, etc. Now, traditional perimeter security solutions usually try to combine both the network layer firewalls and a proxy server in a packaged offering like UTMs or commercial firewalls. Mitigation of modern web security threats is significantly more resource intensive, particularly due to the phenomenal increase in HTTPS usage and rising popularity of cloud based web applications. Enabling the application layer security feature of a traditional firewall therefore gives a less than desirable user experience. A dedicated proxy server provides a better user experience and holistic security capabilities. Now, why SafeSquid? SafeSquid is a HTTP proxy server explicitly designed for web security. Unique implementation of various security features ensure maximum granularity required to enforce ideal secure operating practices, while providing adequate freedom to users for conducting their business rules. With SafeSquid, you can effect policies that meet your organization's requirement. Let me give you a few examples over here. So you could allow the members of your sales team to share PDF and Excel sheets via webmail, but nothing else and nowhere else. You can restrict Windows updates to happen only during non-business hours, say after 6 p.m. Your users would be allowed to freely use Google, but yet prevent the use of personal Gmail. You could even allow or some of them to watch specific types of YouTube videos. Now over here, this is a very simple network diagram to explain where the proxy will be placed in a corporate network and how the traffic flows. Now all machines and applications will have the proxy settings configured and therefore all traffic will be routed from the SafeSquid proxy server, where based on the rules that you create in SafeSquid, content filtering will be performed. For example, blocking of offensive sites and content, malware scanning, image analysis, and many more. Now, SafeSquid is a network application service that can be installed as a native application on an x86-64 Linux system, distributed as a tarball that you could download from a site, extract, and set up on your preferred Linux OS. Though we have recommended Ubuntu because of its simplicity, however, for reliable optimum performance, you could need to also set up a few more applications on your system like caching name server and a high availability application monitor. And since SafeSquid does a lot of logging that you would need for traffic analysis, it is important to secure the application against disk space saturation. SAP or SafeSquid Appliance Builder does all that for you. It is essentially an optimized installer of 64-bit Ubuntu. It relies you of having to do package and dependency selection, partitioning your disk for optimum usage, and also automatically configures the required packages to keep your system lean and mean. You could use it to create SafeSquid virtual appliances or even transform a standard Intel server platform into a hardware proxy appliance. Now, this is the suggested hardware sizing. Now, depending on the anticipated usage, you could choose the appropriate configuration. For optimum user experience, we recommend use of two or more network interfaces, one or more facing your users and other connecting to the internet. These are basic requirements to be captured before deploying or installing SafeSquid in your corporate environment. Since this is for the testing setup, you're using minimal hardware specifications. So for the current setup, I'm using a 4 CPU core and a 4 GB RAM machine with 100 GB of hard disk storage. Now let's move to the installation part. Now over here, these are the steps that we will follow along to install SafeSquid using SAV. So if you see this, broadly it categorizes inside 3 steps. Number one, you create an account in key.csquid.com. Number two, you actually create the appliance and activate it. Third, you test the browsing. So we are going to first go to key.csquid.com, where we are going to create an account, then download the activation key, generate an SSL certificate, and also download the ISO file, which is nothing but the SAB ISO. Let's just quickly move to key.csquid.com. So over here, I have opened up key.csquid.com and I'll be creating an account using my business email ID. Make sure that you use your business email ID so that we can better serve you. Let me just put in my name. So over here, now I'll be receiving an email which will contain the link to activate my account. Let me just quickly open my email. And over here, you can see that I have received an email. I'll just quickly zoom in a bit. Now, if you have not, so generally it takes about max 2 minutes. If you have not received the link, make sure that you select all emails and also check your spam or junk folder. So there might be scenario where this email might land into other sections. Make sure to select the all emails. Let's just click on this link. And let's just set a password. You could change your username if you want. So let me just keep it like. So I'll be using this. Just quickly log into our account. So over here, we'll be selecting premium. We'll be filling up all the details, necessary details. I'll put my details over here. Make sure to also put your Skype and Hangout details if you have any, so that we can better serve. Let's wait till our account gets activated properly. And there you are. So you have successfully created your account in key.csquid.com. The sub step that we are going to follow is downloading the activation key. Let's just quickly download the activation key. So over here on the top right side, you will see the option to download the activation key. Let's just save this file. So it is over here. Make sure that you do not have you have not renamed the activation key file. or if you have downloaded multiple times, there will be a one to appended to the file's name. Make sure that you remove that, or you rename the file to activation underscore key, or make sure you do not download it repeatedly. You could delete all the activation key files and then download it fresh. This is a very important step to follow. After this, we will be actually going to create the SSL certificate. So over here, there are many sections. We will move to the manage certificate section. Now let's generate the SSL certificate. Now this is a very important step. If you generate the SSL certificate over here, this is a very important part for SSL inspection. Now I'll give you a quick short info about SSL inspection. In simple word, SSL inspection allows to inspect or view the SSL traffic and then apply the content filtering on it. Without SSL inspection, we cannot perform content filtering on HTTPS sites. We know that most of the internet websites, or almost 85% of the websites, are HTTPS. So therefore, without SSL inspection, we can only block the website completely or allow it. With SafeSquared, there are few more advantages even without enabling SSL inspection, but they are very limited. A simple example, when you set up a policy without SSL inspection is, in SafeSquared, you can block downloading from Microsoft website from 9 to 5. A simple example with SSL inspection being enabled in SafeSquared, you can block downloading of exe files specifically and allow downloading of PDF files from Microsoft.com or Microsoft websites in office hours. You can set the office hours based on your requirements. It could be 9 to 5, 9 to 10, anything. Now let's just actually generate the SSL certificate. Just click on generate. Over here, this is a very important section. So over here, there are two sections given to you. You could create a completely new self-signed certificate, or you could use your enterprise CA certificate. You can upload the enterprise CA certificate over here and use it. So we'll go with the first approach, wherein we are going to generate the self-signed SSL certificate. So let's just quickly set the passphrase. Now passphrase is very crucial to make sure if you set the passphrase, you store it somewhere. So for me, I'll be using my account's password as the passphrase, so it becomes easy for me to remember. And over here, you can see the generate has changed to regenerate, and you can easily download the SSL certificate. Let's just click on download. We have the activation key, we have the certificate. Now let's download the SAB ISO file. So over here, you can see on the right side, you get an option to download the SafeSquared ISO. Let's just click on this link, just save. Now this ISO file is less than 80 MB, so it should be downloaded quick fast. So over here, you can see the size of the file is 73 MB. Now let's just move to the step 2, where we are actually going to create the VM configuration. So let me just quickly, so over here, I'm using Hyper-V. Just for the testing purpose, we recommend using VMware vSphere for virtualization or bare metal, as it provides better performance. So let me just quickly open the Hyper-V console. Right click, create a new virtual machine. Now you might be having any other virtualization application. The steps or the internal elements will still be the same across, like setting the hard disk, setting the RAM, setting the CPU core, etc. So over here, I'll just put in the machine's name. So I'll use SafeSquared. Over here, this is a very important section where I'm going to set the RAM. So I've specified that I'm going to set it to 4096. Let's just do that. The network adapter that you're going to set for your virtual machine. The hard disk space. So over here, we'll be selecting 100 GB. And the other important part, which is setting the ISO file. Let me just quickly open it. And let's just move to the folder where we have the source code ISO. Let's just finish this. Now our VM configuration is created. Let me just quickly show you that. So let's just open up settings, and over here we have the memory section where we have set 4 GB of RAM. CPU. So this was the option not available to me at that moment while I was trying to create the VM configuration. Depending on the virtualization platform, you might have it right there, or you can then reconfigure it. So I'll be setting 4-core CPU. We have already selected the hard disk. We have also given the ISO file. That's it. Let's just click on apply and oh. Now let's just actually boot up the machine and do the SAP installation. Let me do a full screen. So this is the first page that is going to come up when you do the SAP installation. We'll be moving towards the standard installation part. In most cases, you will be requiring the standard installation. Over here, the very first option or very first thing that will be asked to you is whether you want to select the DHCP or static IP. So I'll be selecting the static IP. So we'll be selecting no over here. This is for the language selection. So I'll be selecting English. This is for the country selection. So since I'm in India, I'll be selecting India. Based on your region, you could select any other country. So I think English US is the preferable keyboard for me. Over here, we are going to set the IP address. So let me just quickly do that. Since we already have the details with us, it becomes very easy during the installation phase to install Sage. Make sure you set these things properly. So over here, as I've specified already in the PowerPoint, we will be selecting this. I'll be setting the host name as core proxy and the domain as csq.local. Let's continue. Let's select the mirror location. So based on the country, I'll select India. So it will give me as in, which stands for India.archive.ubuntu.com. Now over here, I prefer the best way is to make sure that you understand what you're trying to configure. So over here, I do not want to use any kind of proxy to download any of the Ubuntu archives. I'll completely remove it and then I'll select continue. Now this installation takes around 20 minutes. Now based on the internet speed, it it might differ. Perfect. Now, based on my location, it is giving me my time zone. So I'll just say yes. So over here, since I've selected only one hard disk, it is giving me an option where I want to do the partition, how many disks I want to use. So currently I'm just using one, so it will use that. It is already selected. Let me just click on continue. This is the place where it is going to install the grub. So many a times when you use a pen drive to install the system, the pen drive will also be shown over here. So make sure you do not select pen drive in any case. It will be giving you details as to what will be the partition name, the size of the partition, the name. So over here, if you're using a SanDisk USB, it will be showing name as SanDisk USB. Since I have only one hard disk attached, just click on continue. This is where Facebook does the partitioning part. And this completes the SAB installation. Now, many a times when you're creating a machine on any virtualization platform, the boot order is from CD, then from hard disk, and then from any other device. So in this case, let me just quickly stop the machine. Let me just turn the machine off. Let me go to my setting. Now it might not happen to you, but in my case it has happened. So I could just go into my BIOS and I can see that the boot order is CD and then the hard disk. So there are two options that I could do now. I could completely move the CD down and boot from the hard disk where the operating system has been installed properly, or I could just remove the ISO. I'll go over here and I'll completely just set it to none, apply, and open. And let's just start the machine again. It might not happen with VMware. And over here, you can see this is the first page that I'll get after SafeSquid has been successfully installed. Now let me just quickly log in. So there is a default username and password created. Let me just quickly log in. And it will ask me to change my password. I'll set the new password. Perfect. Now, the best way to access this is via the Putty software. So let me just quickly minimize it. Open my Putty. Set the IP address and the username. So let me just quickly search administrator at the rate 10.0.1.101 and let's just click on open. Like this, since we are opening it for the very first time, let me put in my password. I'm logged in. So over here, you're logged in as a normal user, which has sudo privilege. So over here, I'll be just quickly logging into the root user since we'll have to do a lot of tasks which only the root user can do. Let me quickly put in my password. As you can see, I'm logged in as well. Let me just quickly change the settings so that you all can see. 15. Now there are few packages installed by default. So if you do not want to use them, you could quickly disable that. So let me just do that first. So I'll just use systemctl since it is Ubuntu 18 based. Systemctl is the command that you use to interact with the services. So over here, I'll be disabling clam AV daemon. My mistake. And its update service. Now, the reason why I'm disabling this, since I'm not going to use it right after the installation, I might use it later on, or you might completely not use it in your setup. Since SafeSquid comes with an inbuilt memory, in-memory malware scanner, SQ scan. So you might not require this, or you might require this based on your requirement. So there is this way how you could disable this clam AV service. Now we will check few details about the system just to know about the system. So we'll use the command top space -d1, which will give us the kind of task manager to actually see what is running and what is happening. This will give us the node average, the memory used, etc., and many more details. Now we will use the command netstat -nltop and it will tell us what kind of services are running on this machine, specifically the network services. So over here we have SafeSquid running at port 8080. We have named or you could say the find caching name server installed and running. The Monit service, SHD, SSH. Now over here there are a few sections that you should be checking on your SAB installation. So very first being checking the DNS server is in place or not. So we already checked that the important network service are enabled and started. So let me just quickly recheck it. I'll do netstat. Make sure you also add the use NLTUOP and let's just hit enter. We see that CSPID is running. We have named, which is the caching name server, enabled up and running. We have Monet up and running. We have NTP up and running. So this is all seamlessly going properly. Let's just check the default DNS server that we have in the system or the DNS server that we have. So let me just quickly open the resolve.conf file. And since we have done this installation using SAP, it has actually added 127.0.0.1, which is nothing but the Bind9 caching name server as the default DNS server. We could do NS lookup and check. So we'll check out something like bing.com. We'll just hit on enter. As you can see, it is working seamlessly. So over here, I'll be checking my disk information. So for that, we'll be using LSBLK. And you can see the hard disk that we have specified is 100 GB. SAP has actually created few different partitions. So for the root file system partition, it has allocated around 6.6 GB. And for other section, likewise. So for example, the DB where www where log where all the logs are created, DB where the reporting and the database is created, where www where you could keep all your HTML and other reporting files, and few other sections. You have the cache section separately created by CSPID. You could check the disk usage using DF. Now there are many more commands that you could use to understand about the system, know all the other things, but we will stick with this and let's just move to the other part, which is actually installing the certificate on your browser. Now we could actually shift this part to the later sections, but it is better to install the certificate prior on your browser. So let me just open up my browser, go to settings, select cert, view certificates, import, and I'll import the csq.cr that I've just downloaded. Select both the fields and click OK. Now this is very important section. You will have to import the certificate on your browser to make sure things go properly. Now since this is in place, let's just access the CSPID's dashboard. I'll set the proxy settings. So I've already set the proxy IP and the port. Let's just click on OK and let's just open up CSPID's interface. In order to do that, you'll have to type http://csq.co. Now this interface can only be accessed if you have proxy settings configured on your browser. Now the very first thing that we are going to do after accessing the interface is to actually activate the CSPID instance. So let's just click on this. This will open up the details about the license agreement. You could read it and then you can select the agree and let's just browse the activation. So I'm on the same folder. I'll select the activation under Suki file, click on upload. Let's just restart. We'll hold on for 1 or 2 minutes, maybe less than that, and the page will refresh. Now this can happen due to the cache stuff. So for that, I'll be using Control F5. That has completely removed that pop-up which was showing since it was not activated. Now you could check whether your product or instance is activated or not. On the right side, you will go to the support tab, and over here it will give you information about who is the creator or which email ID you used, whether your instance is activated or not, and few other details. This validates that your instance is activated. Now, when you click on configure, this is the default setup policy already provided by CSPID. If you want, you can create your own policy. You could completely delete all the policies, but this is the default set of policy already provided by CIS. If you just close any other tab. Now, before actually doing anything else, let's just quickly enable the debugging mode. Now, it is very important that you enable the debugging mode so that you can understand what is happening, how Salesforce is working, and it will help you to easily debug everything. So, in the initial part, so let's just click on Startup Params. Let's just click on Edit, and over here there is an option called as Log Level. Let me just select the icon next to it, and it will tell me all the details. And over here it says for debugging, set this value. So just copy this, set this, save this up, and restart. Let's just wait for 1 or 2 seconds. Perfect. Now let's just open any other site. So for that example, I'll just take up yahoo.com. You can see I can open up yahoo.com. The very important part over here is to check. If you click on the log button next to, or you just hover over it, you will see verified by Salesforce Labs. You click on it and you click over here, then give more information, click on view certificate. You will see this option which makes sure that SSL inspection is enabled and it is configured properly. So you have created the SSL certificate, SSL inspection is enabled, and there was no problem while doing it. This completes the part, and then you can start creating the policy. And you could access any other site with the default policy in place. There is very less websites that are blocked. So, for example, there are websites like 7777.com which will be blocked. Let's just quickly access that. And you can see it is completely blocked. Each feature designed to enable maximum granularity and compliance of security needs. Below are the few how-tos that you can do with SageGrid, and we will be covering that in the upcoming sessions. In next tutorials, we will be covering LDAP integration, access control, enforcing Google restrictions, prevent cyber slacking, creating security strategies, etc., and many more. Now, this completes the demo for today. Thank you. Have a nice day.